King Jesus, King Jesus. Okay, in the death of Freddy Gray of Baltimore City on April 19th, the Baltimore State Attorney has announced that 6 Baltimore cops are facing up to 30 years in prison for the murder of Freddy Gray as their union attacks a rush to judgment. These officers have been booked and charged. They are now released on bond. Okay, this is reported with the headlines in Daily Mail, UK. Officers were booked into jail Friday and their mugshots released. Caesar Goodson, Jared E. Miller, William G. Porter, Edward M. Nero, Brian W. Rice, and Alicia D. White were all taken in. Bail for each was set at $250,000 to $350,000. All have been paid. Charges range from second-degree murder to misconduct in office. Police union said charges so early is an egregious rush to judgment. Freddy Gray, who was 25, suffered a severed spine in police custody after arrest on April 12th. Okay, these are the 6 Baltimore police officers who were involved in Freddy Gray's arrest and are charged with his death and could ultimately spend decades in prison for charges as serious as murder. Caesar Goodson, Jared E. Miller, William G. Porter, Edward M. Nero, Brian W. Rice, and Alicia D. White were all taken into custody after charges were filed in connection with the 25-year-old's arrest on April 12th. According to a state prosecutor, the officers were complicit in or actively caused Freddy Gray's death as his spine was broken while he was driven through the streets of Baltimore following what has been described as an entirely unlawful arrest. Freddy Gray died on April 19th, a week after the incident. Goodson, who is 45, was charged with his murder Friday. Rice, Porter, and White were charged with manslaughter, while Miller and Nero's most serious charges were assault. All the officers face as long as 10 years in prison if found guilty, while Goodson's murder charge could make him eligible for 30 years. Their booking photos were released Friday night. All have posted bail and were released. Goodson, White, Porter, and Rice paid $350,000 bail, while Nero and Miller paid $250,000. Activists and protesters rejoiced in Baltimore after charges were filed by the state's Attorney Marilyn Mosby today, but the city's police union savaged her decision to press with criminal charges so soon. The Fraternal Order of Police said the charges represent an egregious rush to judgment. Announcing the charges today, Marilyn Mosby described how officers cuffed Gray's hands behind his back and shackled his legs but did not secure him with a seatbelt while the van was moving, a violation of police department policy. She said that after he hurt himself, they continued with depraved indifference to ignore Freddy Gray's repeated pleas for medical attention. She said the officers failed to adequately check on him despite stopping the van and opening the back door multiple times as he wailed in pain for medical help. She made the decision to bring charges despite a plea from the Fraternal Order of Police. Okay, the list of charges for each defendant read as follows. Officer Caesar R. Goodson Jr., second-degree depraved heart murder, maximum sentence 30 years. Manslaughter, 10 years. Assault second degree, 10 years. Manslaughter by vehicle, gross negligence, 10 years. Manslaughter by vehicle. Criminal negligence, 3 years. Misconduct in office, at the court's discretion. Lieutenant Brian W. Rice. Manslaughter, 10 years. Assault second degree, 10 years. Assault second degree, 10 years. Misconduct in office. Misconduct in office. False imprisonment, all at the court's discretion. Officer William G. Porter. Manslaughter, 10 years. Assault second degree, 10 years. Misconduct in office, at the court's discretion. Alicia W. White. Manslaughter involuntary, 10 years. Assault second degree, 10 years. Misconduct in office, at the court's discretion. Officer Garrett E. Miller. Assault second degree, 10 years. Assault second degree, 10 years. Misconduct in office, at the court's discretion. Misconduct in office, at the court's discretion. False imprisonment, at the court's discretion. Officer Edward M. Nero. Assault second degree, 10 years. Assault second degree, 10 years. Misconduct in office, at the court's discretion. Misconduct in office and false imprisonment, all at the court's discretion. Cesar Goodson, 45, is twice married and lives with his second wife, Paula, in Cantonsville, Maryland. He is the grandson of a police officer, and his nephew Antoine is a promising football player playing wide receiver for the Northwestern Oklahoma State University Rangers. Brian Rice is the longest serving of the group, having spent 8 years with Baltimore Police Department. Goodson joined 2 years later in 1999. Alice White has been with the force since 2010. Porter, Miller, and Nero all joined the force in 2012. Kevin Moore, 30, who filmed the arrest, was seen weeping as he found out that they will be charged with illegally detaining and killing his 25-year-old friend. Moore was himself arrested on Thursday and claims that he has been subjected to police harassment since handing over the footage. I'm exuberant. I'm happy. I'm every positive word you can think of. I finally made a difference in the world, Kevin Moore said. Protesters in Baltimore erupted in celebration in the streets of Baltimore to celebrate the news that the officers involved in the murder of Freddy Gray have been arrested and charged.